What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Handmade and Beyond podcast. I'm your host, LL, leader of the handmadeandbeyond.com website and community. I'm a self-employed entrepreneur, an Etsy expert, and business coach who's figured out how to make my entire living with my handmade business. Each week, I'll dive into strategies and success tips to help you with your handmade business, with Etsy, and everything in between. Let's dive in. All right, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Handmade and Beyond podcast. Glad to be back with you guys. Hopefully you and your families are doing awesome. Hopefully your Etsy business is doing awesome. If not, the goal with this podcast is to change that for you, to give you small wins, small victories, so you guys can make strides forward to get to where you want to be from a goal standpoint, from an Etsy shop standpoint. Today's podcast, what I really want to talk about is what makes an Etsy listing good, and what's kind of the key to success, the recipe, the special sauce that really makes a listing good. And how I define good is if it sells, right? If it gets sales, it's good. So there's a couple things that you guys have to look at when it comes to your listings, and I want to just kind of break that down and go through the different components and how you should be thinking about your listing and creating, not only going back and looking at your listings, but going forward, how you're creating listings, just so you can make sure that you're giving yourself the best chance for success, the best path towards victory, so to speak. So really, starting at ground zero is the product itself. What are you selling, and how is that going to be perceived by the customer? So you want to make sure that there is a demand for what you're selling, because if no one is looking for what you're selling, they're not going to buy it and not going to find it because they're not looking for it. So you want to make sure that you're offering stuff where there is a demand for it. Now, on the off chance that maybe you're bringing something new to the market, this may not be the case for you, but most of the times, 99% of the time, you're creating products that are already out there, or some version of them is out there. You're going to put your own special sauce, your own spin on them. But they're already out there. People are already searching for the products. So you want to make sure there's demand. That's that's going to be your best chance of success to get your product sold if people are looking for it. And then from there, it really comes to the quality of product. How is your product different? How are you putting your own flavor on the product, your own special sauce on the product, like I just said? How are you introducing quality into your product? Does your product come with added features or added benefits that other products don't? How are you differentiating your product from the other ones out there? Maybe you are bringing a product that is a higher tier, a higher level. You're bringing a Tesla to the market, and you're not bringing what's the other small car, electric car, Prius. That's what it is. So you're not bringing a Prius, you're bringing a Tesla to the market. But maybe you are on the flip side of that, maybe you are bringing a Prius, but it's your own flavor of Prius. It's your own different variety. So that's kind of a way to look at it too. So you want to make sure that you're bringing something that people are going to want from a quality perspective, and not just throwing garbage out there, to be perfectly blunt. So you want to make sure that you are selling quality products, they're well made, and it's something that people want. Now, if you're unsure if there's a demand for it, you can use tools to search for demand. My personal favorite, which I talk about all the time, I'm kind of obsessed with it, is Allura. I'll drop the link below so you can get your free trial of Allura, but it's you can easily research product demand. You can see sales per month, sales per all time, which is the best feature of the tool, is just seeing the estimated sales, which is pretty close. They say the error rate's like within 20%. From I checked it, and it's pretty accurate on all my stuff. So you can see sales for specific keywords, which is awesome. You can also see favorites. You can see visits as well, which are good, but those are more vanity metrics. At the end of the day, I want to see a product that's making sales. I want to see keywords that are driving sales, because then you have a chance to make similar sales if you're bringing a product that's just as good or better, or it's your own special spin. But you can easily research demand as well for your products using Allura. So the next component, once you got your product down, once you got the demand down, it really comes to the success of your listing, really comes to the stats of your listing. So the stats are visits, how many visits it's getting, how many conversions it's getting, really is sales. How many sales compared to visits is it getting? Is it converting at a high rate? And is it getting favorites? So all those metrics in a positive way will drive performance. So in a way, success helps success. It keeps the momentum going, keeps the snowball rolling down the hill. So if you start getting favorites, you start getting visits, chances are you're going to start getting sales. And then as you get sales, you're going to get more visits, more favorites, and more sales. So it's going to keep going, because Etsy is going to put that listing further in front of other listings as far as the search rank. So there you're going to have a better chance of it selling. So if it does good to start, it's probably going to continue to do good. So that's why you want to make sure that there is a demand and that you are offering a quality product to give it the best chance of success early on. Because the longer a listing does not bring in good stats, is not successful, the more it's going to be slid back in search rank for specific keywords, and it's going to be harder to make sales. So that's why it's important to start off on a good foot when it comes to your product, your listing, and your stats. So, and then what drives stats kind of really get, back in the train up as far as that goes. Stats are driven, from your, like I said before, from the demand and the product, but really it comes down to how people are perceiving your product. And that comes down to pictures, photography. So you got to make sure that you're starting off on a good foot with photography. If you're not displaying your picture or your listings in a good light, literally and figuratively, people are not going to perceive it well, and they're not going to click on it. They're not going to want to buy it. So you got to make sure your lighting is good, and making sure your representation is good. Make sure you're featuring your product where it's easy to see. You can see all the detail, and it really pops out. Because the thing that people miss is they're looking at their product photos on, probably blown up as a single picture, and they're like, yeah, it looks decent. What you have to remember is when people are looking through all of the search, when they're searching for a product, they're scrolling through all the thumbnails. Those pictures are small, and you're side by side with dozens of other pictures, hundreds of other pictures. So people are scrolling through that fast. If you're not giving them a reason to stop on your item, because it doesn't stand out, it doesn't pop, then they're not going to stop. They're going to scroll past your item and keep going to the next item that really pops out. So that's what you want, your item to pop out. And you can even look at it, when it's not blown up, when you're loading it into your listing, look at it when it's small and see how it looks. See how it looks compared to other items in your space. How are other people displaying their items? When you're looking in search, what items pop out at you, and maybe you want to try and implement the same strategies as far as your pictures go. So that's really important. The other component outside of photos is people actually finding your items. So if they don't even find your item, they're not going to look at the pictures. They're not going to click on the pictures. So it's all kind of snowballs the wrong way if you're not using the correct keywords and correct SEO when it comes to your listing. So all these things intertwine together to create a successful listing. So you want to make sure that the keywords that you're using are relevant and are specific to your items. Because if you're using keywords that are not relevant, they're not related, the wrong people are going to be finding your items, and then they, of course, are not going to be clicking on your items. Because I see people do this. They find good search terms with a high amount of traffic, and they put them in their listings thinking that those people are going to come to the listing and buy. What it's really doing is it's bringing the wrong people to your listing, because it's not relevant to your listing. So the same thing happens. You're getting a lot of traffic to your listing. People aren't clicking, people aren't favoriting, people aren't buying. So then Etsy's going to push that back to the second page. And then the next day, same thing happens. You're going to get a little bit less traffic. They're going to push it back to the third page. And then the next day, so it's going to keep getting pushed back because the wrong people are coming to your listing and they're not buying, they're not favoriting, and it's just going to continue to hurt you. So you want to make sure that your SEO is good, your pictures are good, but also your product's good, and make sure there is a demand for your product. And then there's other factors that do come into play. Pricing comes into play. Your description does come into play. You want to make sure that those things are appropriate and well done as well, and also well done. But the main things that play into your listings are the things that I just went through. And that's how you should look at your listings, just to make sure that you're prepared. You're starting off in the right foot. A lot of times what people do, and this is fine. I did this too when I was a rookie, when I didn't know what I was doing early on. I had to go back and fix stuff because you do it to get it out there, but maybe your SEO is not great. Your pictures aren't great. You have like a couple words in your description. You're just throwing it out there to see if it's going to sell. Maybe it will. Chances are it probably won't. And then down the road, you're going to realize it and then have to go back and fix it. So the goal is not to just throw listings up. The goal is to make sure you get it right, or as close to right the first time, so you don't have to go back and fix it later. Because once you put it out there to the Etsy universe and it's all jacked up, yeah, the damage is already done. You're already starting off on a bad foot, and it's going to be an uphill climb. So I want to make sure that you guys are starting off on the right foot to give you guys the best chance of success early on, so you don't have to go back and fix stuff, which we all have to. I'm still learning. I'm not perfect. I still go back and tweak stuff and fix stuff, because your listings are not a one and done thing. It's your Etsy shop is a living, breathing thing. So you have to look at it that way and just not look at it as, well, I did it. Now I'm not ever going to touch it again. That's not the right way to look at it. You have to continue to work at it. And that's why the most successful Etsy sellers are people that continue to work on their shop, continue to refine your craft. It's like professional athletes. They practice every day. They lift weights, they run, they practice every day. And that's why they are professional athletes. That's why they're good at what they do. It's no different in the business world. You have to practice every day. You have to hone your craft. You have to get better at what you're doing. And if you're committed to that journey and that mindset, you will find success. But the people that kind of fall off the track, that really don't find success, are people that don't work on their stuff hardly at all. Because that's the first thing I ask people that are really struggling is like, what have you done today in your business to push it through, or not push it through, but to move it forward, so to speak. And a lot of people are, well, I haven't touched my shop in months or ever, So that is the problem. You have to kind of tweak your mindset there and continue to work on your shop, even when and especially when you're not seeing success. You have to work on it more. So just think about it that way, but hopefully that gives you guys a starting point, a framework of how to look at your listings and think about your listings even before you create the listing. It's good to have a good plan and know the strategies of what drives the basic fundamentals of what drives a listing's success. Hopefully it helps you guys out. If you guys could do me a favor and you like and listen to this podcast often, please leave a review. Hopefully it's a good one. I look at them either way, good or bad. I'm not perfect. So either way, but it helps me reach more people, more Etsy people, more people that just need help with their business and want to get a handle on the Etsy world, on the business world, on the handmade world. So I'd really appreciate that. Outside of that, have an awesome rest of your day. Happy selling, and I will talk to you guys next week.